How best can the escalating cost of higher education be addressed? And who is set to benefit from the Student Solidarity Fund? Can the recent use of violence and damage to property by university students be justified? Who is responsible for ensuring the safety of students on and off campus? What time is it? It's question time. Welcome to the show. My name is Mpho Tsedu. Several institutions of higher learning across the country are still grappling with the aftermath of the violent FeesMustFall protest. The Higher Education Department says the cost of damage to property amounts to more than 300 million rand. The high cost of tertiary education and lack of transformation are believed to have triggered these protests. In a bid to assist needy students, the Alumni of Wits University have launched the South African Student Solidarity Foundation. Meanwhile, the safety of students has come under the spotlight. This follows recent protests by Rhodes University students against what they call a culture of sexual abuse at the institution. We are live. Therefore, you can call us, air your views. The number to dial, 089-110-4210. Our Twitter handle at QuestionTime24. My guest, Diego Mseneke. He is the founder of the South African Student Solidarity Fund for Education Trust. And from our studios in Pretoria, Kai Ngwanyana is the Department of Higher Education spokesperson. Gentlemen, let me welcome you both. And Diego, thank you very much for making time. Let's talk about this Solidarity Fund. Is it your business really to be bothered about students who cannot afford fees? Is that not supposed to be Blade Nzimbande's headache?
Well, fact of the matter is that there are many students at our universities who, even when they are recipients of NEFSA's grants, in fact go hungry at our universities, have no accommodation at the university, have no textbooks. And as a result, the pass rate of these students is quite shockingly low. Yeah. And the chances of many students from poor households of achieving their university education and being able to free themselves from the trap of poverty is undermined. So it's almost irrelevant whose responsibility it is. We took the view that it is society's problem. And even if you had a very honest, hardworking and determined government, our history is such that you need social groups, business, individuals to do what they can in order for us to tackle this problem.
So how do you plan to go about it?
It's not too difficult. Everybody who has had a higher education in this country was subsidized. They were subsidized by mine workers. They were subsidized by workers because the state always subsidized higher education. And all that we are saying to all of those people is that make a small, regular contribution towards making higher education more accessible to the next generation of young people. So we're asking people to make a donation, a regular donation of 200 Rand a month, every month, reliably, into the fund so that we can catch this problem. And like I said, many people pay more than 200 Rand to gyms across the country and they never pitch up at the gym. So they may just as well cancel their membership and make it possible for young people to be able to go to university.
So these are vets, what do you call yourself, vetsis or something?
Yes, these are people who went, this was started by student leaders who went to vets, a long line of student leaders that stretched from the 1950s to now met and said, let's do something about this. Okay. But it is our intention, and very shortly we're going to be launching other universities onto the platform so that alumni of other universities can similarly be able to give to the current crop of students at their old alumni.
So are you saying, I'm a product of TEFLOP, so must I go and gather David Makura, and others, and say, let's start donating, give them carry, come.
Yes. So we've created a platform. The technology has been sorted out. You'll be able to get onto the SASFI website. You'll get an emblem of Tefluop. You will double-click Tefluop, and you'll be able to just make your donation. And then we have a very elaborate system of accounting for the funds which have been collected and being able to show everybody who gives it what impact we are making in making education, higher education, more accessible and to increase the success rates of young people who come from poor backgrounds in our country.
Kaingwanyana, good news, I guess.
Well, we welcome that as a Department of Higher Education. You will be aware that there are real pressures that we have as government in relation to ensuring that we indeed ease off the conditions of poor students. Government can go as much. We try to extend the hand within the limited budget of government that we get from the National Treasury. It's not enough, and we always say any hand that can make a contribution is always welcome. Even the Deputy Minister of Higher Education has started a similar thing to encourage almost everybody who's working, former graduates of institutions, that all institutions, our alumni, the convocant, that they must go back and make contributions. He launched it in TUT and saying that we must go back and pledge. I know TUT also, the alumni there also is trying similar things. We really welcome all of these measures because all of these resources will go the long way, even if it means to assist one or two students. It's very, very important as we continue to try all other interventions as government. As you might be aware that there's a presidential commission now that is even looking at the issue of fee-free education for poor students that will report in due course once it completes, so that we start those interventions to ensure that we assist our most poor students. So, but in the process, we are calling everybody, even the business, that they must come to the party, because education must not be seen as an exclusive reserve of government, as a provider and a financial enabler. Okay. Everybody in society, business, and even indeed our alumni must make a contribution to make sure that we really tackle this particular pressure that we're having currently.
Only money, or do you think perhaps it should be extended to the provision of leadership, even if it's on an advisory basis? I mean, former student leaders. Because we've seen that there are challenges of leadership at tertiary institutions at the moment.
Yeah, quite true, quite true. It's one thing that we always talk about. I don't want to say there's a level of degeneration because I will be claiming that during my generation we were superior as student leaders at that time. But I would say that the paradigm has really shifted. What we used to have at that time and the level of engagements at the most qualitative level, even the manner in which we used to raise issues, how we conduct our strikes, which could not degenerate to violence, to damage to property. You were mentioning more than 300 million of damage that we have calculated now throughout our institutions. All of those are a consequence of poor leadership, where you have strikes that are allowed to run amok. There's no responsible leadership that can say, no, we are striking because we are demanding 1, 2, 3, but these facilities must be protected because they belong to the generations to come, as the generation that went before left them for this generation. So that kind of leadership, we need convocants, former leaders to make time to come and provide leadership and train and plow back, so that, because student leadership is a seedbed within which we produce leaders of tomorrow. You were mentioning the Premier of Gauteng as one of your convocants in Tefluop. They were trained there and at that level, and he became a president of SASCO during our time. So we need to go back and say, how do we pull back all those convocants and continue to plow back that qualitative leadership that will assist us going forward?
Itumeleng, you are in Pretoria. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mpo.
Yes.
Mpo, we welcome the initiative. It's very good.
Okay.
But I'm afraid if we're going to approach this as in the way of money is the problem. Mm-hmm. Money is not the problem. You know, how Peku said on right into cause. We are dealing with the facts. We are not dealing with the causes. And for as long as we are dealing with the facts, we will never solve the problem. Remember, Mpo, man makes money. Money does not make a man. The problem is not that there will never be enough money to solve our problems, but how we use that money. How we use that money to solve these problems. That is the problem. We need to find out what is the cause of money not being solved the right way. Because of this fund today, in the next coming 5 years, 6 years, it can work the right way. But after that, we find that now we read about it in the news because of this corruption. Okay. So I think, we must not approach this in the way of money is the problem. Money is not the problem. Money will never be enough. But how we use that money, we need to solve that problem. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Itumeleng. Indeed, how is this money going to be used?
Yes, I mean, like I say, I mean, the reality of the average young, black, poor student in our universities must not be underestimated. There are students who have no meals for a whole day, and how do you expect them to pass?
Yeah, but there
is a level, but let me make the point.
Yeah, you didn't have food all the time when you were still on campus.
Yes, but we have a democratic state. Yeah. We have a state that cares for its people, and we have a state that is duty-bound to ensure that it advances and improves the possibility of as many young people in our country as possible. The second point I must make is that we spend a great deal of time interacting with the students instead of judging them.
Yeah.
So we said we want to listen.
Yes.
We don't know where the shoe pinches for the student of 2016. And the fact of the matter is that some of the struggles that the students are fighting for are in fact heroic struggles which we support. But our ability to interface with the student depends on the amount of empathy that we show as former alumni, that we show as government, that we show as society for the problems that afflict students on these universities. The existence of many of the students on campus is undignified. Students have to sleep in libraries. So I'm just saying that it is an unacceptable set of circumstances under which we are expecting young students to study under a democratic government and state. And it is our duty to understand those realities, to empathize with them, and to act in part what we are doing seeks to do that in order to create circumstances that will permit for success and for students who will feel at one with the democratic order and state and not feel at odds with the democratic order of state. And that is a point that we are trying to make. More empathy, less finger pointing is what is required if we're going to move the discourse from where it is to more constructive discourse where we can find solutions going forward.
Let me take Tabo. Tabo, you are in Centurion, Pretoria. Welcome.
Hi, how are you, sir?
I'm well. Thanks for the call, Tabo.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. Chief, I hear it's a very wonderful initiative that's been started by the gentleman that you're sitting with there in this room.
Yes.
But another reason that I'm calling here is to actually put up a red flag, to actually say there is a solution that actually can be applied to this, and that is a solution that employs social entrepreneurship with the focus of a strategic crowd fund. And we have an amazing idea that actually can be implemented into this. So I'd like to leave my details down with the gentleman who's the founder of the Solidarity Fund, because we are operating in the social media space. Is that possible for us to actually get into business and actually take this forward? We have already been into discussions with the Deputy Minister, as I can see there in the background, that you have the the spokesperson
yes,
of the jihad. So this is an ongoing thing. We also have a wonderful presentation already that we can present. So can we get this thing done?
Yeah, I think our producers will talk to you just offline now so that they can get your details, which we'll definitely share with Tieho here. For now, we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll be taking your calls. 089 110 4210 is the number to dial.
The souls, the OMG of the party, in all their glorious, well, glory. Ah, yes. We salute you, party comrade, with a bottle of 3 Ships whiskey for just $119.99 from Tops at Spa.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest today is Tieho Seneke. He have started a good initiative to try and help those students starting from Wits University who are at need. Kai Ngwanyan is the spokesperson of the Department of Higher Education and joins us from our Pretoria studios. The numbers to dial 089 110 4210. 089 110 4210. Perhaps, can you assure, Ahmed Kathrada, as an alumni of Wits, that if he is to start depositing 200 rands from the end of the month, it will be safe?
Okay. Firstly, we have a board of trustees which is chaired by the Archbishop Thabo Makgoba in the Archbishop of Cape Town. We have Judge Azar Kachalia, the judge of the Supreme Court of Appeals, as a trustee. We have retired judge, Constitutional Court Judge Goldstone. And we have Professor Mamokgeti Phakeng, the maths professor and vice chancellor at UCT, as the trustees. So that's the first thing.
Well, and there's you.
Yes, of course. Yes, absolutely. And then we have a management board with myself as chair, which includes a range of decorated Wits alumni. It includes Temba Maseko, it includes Firoz Kachalia, it includes Linda Vilakazi, Terry Tselani of the IEC. That's the first thing. The second thing is that all the money that is deposited goes straight into the account of Wits University. Okay. So the money is not paid to us or our friends or anybody. It goes into the accounts of Wits University. It is managed by the university. It is subjected to the controls that are there in the university. So that's another level. The third level is that we have drawn from the alumni of Wits some of the most able and talented accountants, auditors, and risk managers. Victor Sekese, one of the top accountants in the country, sits in the audit committee of the fund. So in fact, what we have done is that we have drawn on some of the finest talents that we have in the country in order to ensure that the money is managed, it is managed properly. We use the institutional capacity at Wits and so on. So this is not some sort of fly-by-night thing where the money is managed otherwise. I mean, because we want to create a long-term, sustainable capability to be able to contribute significantly to funding the universities that we run. As you know, in the US, a university like Harvard University receives zero support from government. And yet it is one of the wealthiest and the best universities in the world. It is within us to be able to create universities in our country which can be hugely and magnificently supported by the private sector, by the alumni, provided that those resources are managed in an arm's length manner, independently, and in a manner that gives the public and the donors confidence that the money is being handled properly and that the money will go to only and only one place, and which is what it is intended for, to ensure that students have access to higher education.
Albert, you are in Tembisa. Thanks for the call. Hello, Albert. Albert is gone. Oh, Albert, are you there? Oh, no, Albert is no longer there. Okay. Kai, let's just, perhaps whilst you're here, let me just take advantage of your presence and say quickly, just update us on, what is happening at Fort Hare. Because what I'm seeing here, Diego sounds very much jealous about Wits University. Wits made him, what he is today. But there are also other people who were made by Fort Hare. And we have seen what is happening in Fort Hare.
Yeah, well, Fort Hare also is making a lot of stride through its alumni. We were there even in February. You will appreciate that this year also the university, this is its centenary year since its existence. And there are many measures that are put in place and the galvanization of all the alumni to make contributions to the legacy of Fort Hare, but also to contribute to the students of today in Fort Hare. And with its rich package of alumni, there's no doubt that going forward, it will make a serious stride in terms of reclaiming that glory that it has.
Okay.
This year we have seen a lot of them coming to the party, pledging, and they're using this centenary year as a way of really resuscitating that kind of mobilizing resources.
Okay.
And we are quite sure that by the end of the year you'll be seeing quite a lot of initiatives that will take it to its former glory.
Okay, Temba, you are in Milnerton in Cape Town. Welcome.
Yes, good day.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say is, you see, we always see trains being burnt, buses being burnt in the streets on the strike. Mm-hmm. But I think we mustn't see that in the students, where the students know better. And they have to know that if you destroy one thing, it's actually for generations to come which you are disadvantaging. So what we lack, I think, is all political leaders, they must stand together in case where students, they think they are still doing it maybe for EFF or for ANC or for DA.
Okay.
So they need to be discouraged a lot by all opposition and ANC.
Okay, thank you very much, Temba.
I think absolutely. I mean, in case that point is not clear, we are completely opposed to any sort of violence on campuses. We're opposed to any destruction of property on these campuses. We are opposed to any sort of violence against women on campuses, and that we must create campuses which are enabling for everybody to be able to work in there. So there's no doubt about that. The only point I'm making is that our ability to influence the current circumstance on our campuses depends in a large part on the empathy that we show for the reality of the circumstances of poor students on our universities.
Okay, I want us to close the show, but Diego, I want you to look straight into that camera and address those verses.
Oh, I mean, the class of 2016, we salute you, because they are great young leaders which we are molding at our universities. Your struggle to make universities accessible to more people is a just one, and which we support. Are you with me? But ensure that when you do that, preserve your universities. When you do that, protect vulnerable young women on campuses and not abuse them, and not rape them, and not have violence against them, so that you can build a university community where academic excellence is cherished, and where people can grow and develop into the model citizens that we want all of those young people to be in time to come.
So those who want to get in touch?
Or www.sasfe, tef.co.za, press donate, and press monthly, and give as much as your circumstances permit you, so that we can make education more accessible to more in our country.
And it doesn't matter where you are in the world.
And if you want to give to Forte, very soon we'll be able to click on Forte and give to Forte or TEFLUP or TUT and any university in South Africa, and the funds will go directly to those universities, provided that they are spent in order to make university education more and more accessible to more people.
I'd always thought TEF was leading, and here you are, you started it first. Must talk to JJ Tabani. He must tell us why they didn't start it first.
TEFLUP is a great university that has produced many great sons and daughters, as you know.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for the time. Kaye, thank you very much also for joining us. That was Question Time for today. A big thank you to my guests and to you for watching the show. Goodbye.